ఈ యాక్టివిటీ వస్తుంది ఇప్పుడు ఇది అది వస్తుంది. This is about the groundwater जो scenario था, so depletion वाला. And why is this happening? So this is happening because of the irrigation. I mean, the relation between the groundwater depletion has a direct relation to the trends of irrigation that have changed. If you see, so the tube wells, this is brown in color, right? So आप यदि देखेंगे तो 1950 में it was 0, right? But the tube wells का मतलब होता है borewell. So मतलब ग्राउंड वाटर से जो इरिगेशन करने की जो है वो बढ़ता जा रहा है. So from canals it has actually decreased, and from tube wells it has got increased. So this is one of the reasons of groundwater depletion, and that is why it has happened, because it has happened from a shift from, which we call it as Deva Matrikas to Adeva Matrikas. So millets, they are called as Deva Matrikas, and wheat, paddy, sugarcane, these are called as Adeva Matrikas. देव शब्द का यहाँ पर अर्थ होता है वृष्टि, वर्षा. जो वर्षाधारित है उसको देव मातृका कहते हैं. जो वर्षाधारित नहीं है, which are irrigated through canal water, they are called as Adeva Matrika. So this is one of the reasons. So what are the side effects? The other side effects is about the consumption of fertilizers. So normally the story behind fertilizers is that fertilizers would give us more yield. एक एकड़ में खेत में जितना हम मतलब हार्वेस्ट लेकर आ सकते हैं उसको दुगनी तिगुनी करने के लिए फर्टिलाइजर्स की स्टोरी थी. मगर क्या वो सच है? इफ यू सी, द violet line is the usage of fertilizers and the green is the harvest. The increase in fertilizers is enormous, but there is a decline in the harvest, right? So this is the so I just wanted to set the कि अभी ये स्थिति है और हमारी जो भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा है इसके विषय में क्या कहती है. मतलब व्हाट डू वी एटलीस्ट हैव एन आइडिया अबाउट ये जो साइकिल है, ये जो हमारी जो आहार के आधार पे हमारे जो जीवन है, इसके विषय में शास्त्रों में क्या कहा गया है. हाउ इज आवर वर्ल्ड व्यू, हमारी जो वैश्विक दृष्टिकोण है वो कैसा है. तो इसको जानने से पहले आई जस्ट थॉट वी विल हैव एन एक्टिविटी जहाँ पे आप सभी को एक क्वेश्चनेयर दिया जाएगा, वेयर देर आर अ फ्यू क्वेश्चंस. प्लीज टेक सम टाइम. इसमें ऐसे क्वेश्चंस हैं, you have to just recall one of the meals that you had recently. मतलब अभी जो 2-3 दिन से हो, या आपको जो अच्छा लगता है, मतलब त्योहारों में आप जो बनाते हैं खाना, या फिर आप जो आज खाया है या कल की आपकी जो मील थी, वो what are those ingredients, मतलब उनमें क्या खाए थे आप, और what is the journey of that food, मतलब आपके प्लेट में वो खाना आने के पीछे what is the story behind it, कहाँ से आए हैं. मतलब are they local grown, regional, national or international, okay? And उसमें कितना natural है, कितना semi processed है, कितना totally processed है. So there are a few questions that are here. ये क्यों लेकर आया हूँ? I know that you're all first I thought it is about I thought the participants to be teachers, but afterwards I got to know that it is about the administrators who will be actually leading the teachers. So I thought कि can this be an activity that can be introduced in your educational institutions, जहाँ पे the awareness of whatever we are eating, where is it coming from, can be instilled in the kids' mind. So this is the main objective behind this activity. So I request if you can idella share pannunga. No varnama aap adha no varnam appdi sonna idiye pananum idha inno time aguma illana rendu perukku vandu onnu kudunga rendu perukku onnu kudunga. So abhi thoda kam hai, but it will give you an idea about what is the questionnaire. You can go through. In the meanwhile, we get the other copies also. I think I'll even share it here. So this is the questionnaire, if you can just go through it. So the first question would be, if you have notepads, you can definitely write them down now itself. Think of the last full meal you ate, whether it could be your breakfast, lunch or dinner. Just close your eyes for a moment and picture your plate. What are all the ingredients and what are all the dishes that you had? List them down. And then trace your food's journey. Pick one item from the list and then try to trace the ingredients. It could be even paneer butter masala. आप ले लीजिए पनीर बटर मसाला जिसमें कसूर मेथी चाहिए आपको. तो कसूर मेथी आपको कहाँ से मिलता है? गरम मसाले हैं. गरम मसाले में कितने इंग्रेडिएंट्स हैं? वो सभी इंग्रेडिएंट्स क्या आप जहाँ पर बैठे हैं, आप जहाँ से आप बिलोंग करते हैं, वहाँ की विसिनिटी से है या कहाँ से है? दालचीनी है, आप दालचीनी कहाँ से मिलता है आपको? इलायची है, आप इलायची कहाँ से मिलता है? लौंग आपको कहाँ से मिलता है? और आप कहाँ पर रह रहे हैं? राइट? सो दिस इज local, regional, national and international, right? Because now we have very international fruits and all that stuff that is coming, right? So आपको कैसा पता कि वो कहाँ से आया है, right? And then just a reflection कि are you surprised? If you want, you can Google even where do these ingredients come from, right? And you can even reflect upon it whether that surprised you. आपको तो हैरान होगा कि गरम मसाले के जो कोई भी इंग्रेडिएंट्स है वो आपको केरल से मिलते हैं, राइट? इट डजंट. मगर गरम मसाले कहाँ से, अब कब से हम कर रहे हैं, राइट? सो देन देयर इज अ सीजन क्वेश्चन कि अभी हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू हैड एप्पल्स टुडे? एनी फ्रूट्स? Great. So is this a season for watermelon? Right? So watermelon has to happen in summer, right? But we ate it, where winter hai abhi, right? So this is also about a question about season. Are we eating seasonal fruits in that season? Because हमको तो अभी सब कुछ throughout the year मिल रहा है. So we can eat 365 days mangoes, right? So if it is not seasonal, how are you actually getting that onto your plate? It should be either on cold storage or it should be imported, or whether you don't know. You can even choose that. Then you can even have a question about, think about what are the vegetables or fruits that are naturally grown in your region right now. आप जहाँ से हैं, what are the actual vegetables that are grown, and do you have those vegetables on your plate? And then it is about processing also. So you may have watermelon juice, right? The brand's name is Real, right? Right. So we have this a very rosy picture of breakfast having orange juice, right? इट्स अ रोजी पिक्चर. आई एम नॉट सेइंग इट्स द प्रैक्टिकल वन, बट जहाँ पर भी आप देखेंगे तो पिक्चर में यदि आपको ब्रेकफास्ट हो तो वहाँ पे एक ऑरेंज जूस, ब्रेड टोस्ट, फ्रेंच टोस्ट, सब कुछ रहता है, राइट? राइट. वो जो ऑरेंज जूस है वो क्या है? वो प्रोसेस्ड है, रियल है, क्या है? सो दिस इज अबाउट, द क्वेश्चन इज अबाउट हाउ फ्रेश और मॉडरेटली प्रोसेस्ड और फुल्ली प्रोसेस्ड फूड दैट इज गोइंग इनटू योर belly, right? So then, I mean, there are few examples that you can add. And then there is this question about, can you swap any one of these unhealthy or, which is coming from far away? Because you have to even keep in your mind कि आपको यदि एप्पल केरल में मिल रहा है वो भी समर में, तो इसके पीछे कितना होगा, मतलब रिसोर्सेस यूज होंगे. इट्स विथ कोल्ड स्टोरेज, यहाँ पे ट्रांसपोर्टेशन है, सो देर इज एनर्जी कंजम्पशन, देर इज फ्यूल कंजम्पशन, अ लॉट इज हैपनिंग. सो वेदर कैन यू स्वैप एनी ऑफ वन ऑफ द इंग्रेडिएंट्स दैट यू आर रेगुलरली हैविंग, which can be substituted with something that is available for you in your local market, which is grown in your local market. So this is a very realistic check you can give, whether it is difficult, somewhat easy, or very easy. How hard it is for you, right? So then, can you take this idea to your schools? How easy or hard or challenging is it for you to take this idea of this is not about we are not here actually fighting with all this environment crisis and all that stuff, but this is a very conscious step towards, this is a first step, conscious step towards something better that can happen, because it will even affect your local economy also. जहाँ local vendors है, local farmers है, उनको भी, because when we create demand, it happens. So you can then just this your commitment and all that. And at last, the insight would be, what's the one thing that you learned or realized from this activity that you didn't know before? So I hope the questionnaire is meaningful and sensible. We'll just have a 5 to 10 minutes of time for this activity. I hope this is not boring, right? It's not boring, right? Okay. So can we wrap it up? So how was your experience after filling it? Okay. So we'll just have a few, insights from any one of you. One or two people can share your, whatever is there on the, whatever you have filled. We can have a small reflection on the questionnaire.
I used to think that I already eat consciously and I'm very conscious about my food and food habits. But after filling the form and taking everything in detail, I just found out that I could possibly swap 2 or 3 things from my food. So that's a new thing for me. That's insightful actually.
Anyone else wants to share their experience? Yeah.
What I found out was that, or you can say my key takeaway from this particular filling up of these 4 pages was that it begins with me, but still it has very, very far-reaching consequences. And I would really like to stick to the food choices that I have consciously made over here. I've tried to swap a few things which were not only hampering in my own physical well-being, but also in the well-being of the nation and the soil and the earth in general. So I take this pledge in front of you and I will try to stick to it. Thank you.
I would request to kindly even take this further to the schools also.
Yeah, good morning. So I was thinking that I'm a very conscious person who eats very mindfully. But I just didn't realize that because I have fruits in the morning. So I had pineapple and watermelon. So I just didn't realize that watermelon is not a seasonal fruit at this point in time. So I will make some conscious choices. Yes, we did. Yeah. Yes, of course. So I try to swap it with papaya, which is seasonal fruit in Kerala at this point in time. Yeah, thank you.
So it's great. So we'll just, so until now it's about the current situation and a small reflection also. So we'll just try to see what is the viewpoint from the Shastras. हमारे शास्त्र क्या कहते हैं. थोड़ा देवनागरी में रहता है मगर I'll try to so the word for water is jal, right? Jal कहते हैं. So jal comes from Sanskrit word jalam, right? So jal शब्द का अर्थ क्या है? What is the derivative meaning of jal? जलति जीवयति लोकान इति जलम. जलति का मतलब होता है जीवयति. तो जिसके कारण हम जीते हैं उसको जल कहते हैं. So the derivative meaning of the word jalam itself is that it is the source of our existence. And in Chandogya Upanishad we find this verse apomaya pranaha. अप शब्द का भी अर्थ है जल. तो प्राण का कारण है. कारण क्या है? प्राण का कारण जल है. मतलब उसमें छांदोग्य उपनिषद में एक संवाद ऐसा आता है जहाँ पे गुरुजी अपने शिष्य को बताता है कि आई वॉन्ट टू प्रूव यू दैट अन्न जो है आप वो मन है. मन का कारण अन्न होता है. अन्नमयम ही सौम्य मनः. हाँ, मतलब आपका अन्न ही आपका मन का कारण है. ये प्रूव करने के लिए क्या करना चाहिए? सो ही गिव्स अ टास्क. 15 दिन मत खाओ. सो डोंट टेक एनी फूड. मगर वहां पर कहते हैं कि पानी तो पियो तुम. डोंट रेस्ट्रेन फ्रॉम ड्रिंकिंग वाटर बिकॉज आपोमय प्राणः. यदि पानी पीना छोड़ दोगे तो तुम मर जाओगे. तो जीने के लिए पानी पियो मगर खाना मत खाओ, राइट? और 15 दिन के बाद आओ और तब भी शिष्य तो सब कुछ वेद और शास्त्र पढ़ा था वो अच्छा, तो वो प्रश्न पूछते लगते हैं गुरुजी, जो तुमने पढ़ाई किया है उसमें प्रश्न पूछते हैं। तो शिष्य को तो कुछ याद नहीं आता है क्योंकि उसने कुछ खाना नहीं खाया है, तो उसकी मन विचलित हो गई, मतलब उसका मन की स्थिति में वो नहीं है, तो ही इज नॉट एबल टू रिकलेक्ट। तो देन ही प्रूव्स दैट अभी समझ में आया कि अन्नमय सौम्य मनः, अभी समझ में आया कि क्यों अन्न मन का कारण होता है। सो वैसा उस संवाद में यह आता है कि आपोमय प्राणः। तो so the whole idea of water being, you know, the crux of life, you know, whatever the at least the space explorations, at least वो जो रैपर है बाहर का वो बता रहे कि we are going, you know, we are exploring for you know life, sustenance, life को देखने के लिए, और वहाँ पे पानी यदि मिल रहा है मार्स में तो उसका मतलब है कि वहाँ पे जीव है, right? और धर्मशास्त्र में हमको ऐसा नाप्सु मूत्रम पुरीशम वा स्थीवनम वा समुत्सृजेत अमेध्य लिप्तम अन्यद्वा लोहितम वा विषाणि वा। सो नदियों में जो अभी जो सीवर है हमारा पूरा ड्रेनेज, जो कुछ भी हम नदी में बहाते हैं, धर्मशास्त्र तो उसका निषेध करता है कि मूत्र और पुरीश का जो है वहाँ पर मिलावट नहीं करना चाहिए, और फैक्ट्री से जो कोई भी आते हैं विषाणु उसको भी हम उसमें करते हैं। यहाँ पर तो विषाणि वा अमेध्यम अन्यद लिप्तम वा नाप्सु समुत्सृजेत। तो जो कोई भी पॉइजनस है, whatever is harmful, it should not be actually let into the rivers. So ये धर्मशास्त्र कहता है, मगर हमारे वाटर पॉलिसी में ये तो दिखता ही नहीं है। अभी हम सुन रहे हैं कि नमामि गंगे, मगर कितने साल होंगे। एक तरफ तो आप यदि काशी में देखेंगे, वाराणसी में एक जगह तो नमामि गंगे का वो जो क्लीनिंग वाला वो चलता रहता है, थोड़ा आप ब्रह्मघाट से थोड़ा आगे यदि जाएंगे तो वहाँ पर तो सीवर तो मिलता ही रहता है। सो दिस इज नॉट समथिंग दैट वी इनहेरिट, मतलब ये जो प्रैक्टिसेस हैं, these are not something that we inherit, because these citations, they show us what kind of a sensibility that we had towards environment, right? And also another concept is this Panchagni Vidya. So there is a fundamental difference. मतलब अभी हम यदि देखेंगे 200 साल पहले, अभी जो हमारा जो कोई भी whatever the technologies, whatever innovations that are happening, they all have their seed in an idea, right? आप में से कोई बता सकता है कि आपने SpaceX नाम सुना है? SpaceX, इलोन मस्क का नाम सुना है आपने, right? So what do you know about SpaceX? हाँ, right? आपने किसी ने भी उसका इनॉग्रेल एड्रेस आपने कभी देखा है? What is the story that Elon Musk told us for the inception of SpaceX? हाँ. So why should we colonize Mars? हाँ. So the whole idea behind SpaceX, अभी जो हम कहते हैं कि वो तो scientific advancement है, technological advancement है, जो we are reusing the boosters, वो जो rocket boosters है वो फिर से आ रहे हैं, उसको हम reuse कर सकते हैं वगैरह वगैरह, which we ape for a lot, but उसका मूल कहाँ पर है? The idea that the earth is not sufficient. आप में से कोई इंटरस्टेलर मूवी देखा है? Right? Yeah. So where does the story of Interstellar start? Yeah. Yeah. So the whole story starts that Earth is no more habitable. So even though the protagonist happens to be an astronaut, he will be doing farming. क्योंकि उस समय जो कोई भी खेत में कुछ उगा सकता है वही मतलब सर्वाइव करेगा और वही बढ़िया है, मतलब so he'll be looked upon to. Yeah. So this idea that earth is no more habitable is the seed for this particular technology, right? For this particular effort, right? So what is our idea? Did our ancestors also think that this earth is not sufficient? And where does this idea come from, where we are talking about earth will not be habitable and we have to colonize Mars? This idea comes from this notion that nature is there existing for the consumption of human. तो मानव को जीने के लिए he can exploit nature. This idea is the reason, is the whole reason or the seed behind this whole technological advancement. So therefore, right, whatever ideas that we have, they actually transform into, you know, the whole technology. So even if you take आप में से कितने के पास EV vehicles हैं, electronic battery led vehicles, right? So what is the story of EV? Electronic vehicles का story क्या है? हाँ, so EV का मतलब green color, ये color आ जाएगा, as if we are doing something great to the environment. मगर reality क्या है? हाँ हाँ, yes. So starting from the, you know, extraction of the raw material until the recycling, I mean the end of the product, everywhere there is a lot of pollution. Even if you have to recharge, you need electricity. Where does this electricity come from? So the idea of EV being eco-friendly is also an illusion that we have created for ourselves. All this in mind, what is the idea of life? I mean, what I wanted to, you know, put forth is the difference between the modern idea of nature and the ancient idea of nature. हम लोग कैसा देखते हैं प्रकृति, मतलब नेचर को हम कैसा हम लोग देखते हैं. So we'll just try to see it from a इसको पंचाग्नि विद्या कहते हैं, जहाँ पे 5 अग्नि रहते हैं. जब अग्नि बताते हैं तो वो हवन कुंड जैसा है, हवन कुंड में अग्नि रहता है, तो उसमें आप कुछ उसमें द्रव्य डालते हो और उस हवन से आपको कुछ फल मिलेगा. राइट, देयर आर 3 थिंग्स. वन इज द अग्नि, द सेकंड वन उसमें कौन सी हविर द्रव्य जाएगा और उससे आपको क्या फल मिलेगा. राइट, सो प्रथम अग्नि है असौ वावलोको गौतमाग्नि. सो ये पूरा विश्व जो है वो अग्नि है और उसमें कौन सी द्रव्य डाल रहे हैं? तस्मिन्ने तस्मिन्नग्नौ देवा श्रद्धां जुह्वति. श्रद्धा नामक एक हविर द्रव्य को आप उसमें डाल रहे हैं. उससे आपको फल क्या मिल रहा है? तस्या आहुतेः सोमो राजा भवति. वहां से सोम वहां से उत्पन्न होके आपको मिल रहा है. देन उस सोम को आप क्या कर रहे हैं? सो उस सोम को आप पर्जन्यो वाव गौतमाग्नि. पर्जन्य का मतलब होता है मेघ, मतलब इसमें यज्ञ भी आता है, जो हम जो करते हैं यज्ञ. तो उस यज्ञ के द्वारा मेघ को ये सोम जो है वो आहुति जाता है. राइट, द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ यज्ञ हम करते हैं. राइट, तो उससे आपको क्या मिल रहा है? फल आपको मिल रहा है. तस्या आहुतेः वर्षम भवति. वर्षा आपको मिल रहा है, वृष्टि, रेन इज द आउटकम. देन पृथ्वी वाव गौतमाग्नि. ये जो पूरा पृथ्वी है वो अग्नि है, उसमें वर्ष रूप एक आहुति दिया जा रहा है और उस आहुति का फल है तस्या आहुतेः अन्नम भवति. जो हमारा जो अन्न है, खाद्य है, वो हमको मिल रहा है वर्षा से. तो अभी आप देख सकते हैं कि देवमातृका की आइडिया कहां से है. सो इट्स डिपेंडेंट ऑन रेन. राइट, so that is why it's called as Devamatrika. Then tasmin purusho vav gautamagni. अभी पुरुष एक अग्नि है, उसमें आहुति दे रहे हैं भोजन के रूप में आप आहुति दे रहे हैं. आप यदि किसी को मतलब थोड़ा ट्रेडिशन से थोड़ा संबंध है तो ट्रेडिशन में हम खाने से पहले 5 आहुति पहला देते हैं, बाद में खाते हैं. तो इट्स द आइडिया ऑफ आहुति, राइट. सो आपकी जो खाना है वो आहुति है, और उसका फल क्या है? पुरुष में उसका फल होता है शुक्र और वीर्य होता है, और स्त्री में उसको वही शोणित बनता है, राइट. और यहां पे योषा वाव गौतम अग्नि, स्त्री ही यहां पर अग्नि है, जहां पे शुक्र रूप का एक आहुति दिया जाता है, और वहां से पुरुष तस्या आहुते है गर्भ संभवती, वहां से गर्भ होता है. और आप यदि देखेंगे तो ये 5वां अग्नि है, पंचमा अग्नि. तो 5वां है ना, 5वां है. और ये 5 आहुति होने के बाद ही पुरुष का उत्पन्न होता है. सो आप यदि देखेंगे द ऑरिजिन ऑफ ह्यूमन, द स्टोरी, मतलब यहाँ पीछे क्या है कि जैसा अभी हम इंट्रोस्पेक्ट कर रहे हैं तो हमको बहुत सारे चीजें मिलते हैं कि बिकॉज यू आर जस्ट सीइंग द आउटकम. इफ यू स्टार्ट इंट्रोस्पेक्टिंग अबाउट इट्स ऑरिजिन, तो हमारा आइडिया ऑफ ऑरिजिन ऑफ ह्यूमन कहाँ से आता है? देखिएगा, द फर्स्ट अग्नि है पूरा कॉस्मोस, लोक ही अग्नि है, मतलब पूरा विश्व का मतलब यूनिवर्स, कॉस्मोस ही अग्नि है. तो वहां से लेके हमारा संबंध द आइडिया ऑफ ह्यूमन एग्जिस्टेंस. सो देयरफॉर ये पूरा जर्नी में आप यदि देखेंगे तो यू आर नथिंग बट अ बाई प्रोडक्ट ऑफ दिस नेचर. यू आर नॉट सेपरेट फ्रॉम द नेचर, यू आर डिपेंडेंट ऑन द नेचर. सो दीज आइडियाज एमर्ज आउट ऑफ दिस. और इसके बाद क्या कह रहे हैं? इति तु पंचम्याम आहुतौ आपः पुरुषवचसो भवन्तीति स उल्बावृतो गर्भो दशवा नववा मासानन्तः शयित्वा यावद्वाथ जायते. तो 9 मास या 10 मास माँ के गर्भ में रहते हुए वो बाहर आता है, और बाहर आने के बाद क्या होता है देखिएगा. सजातो यावदायुषं जीवति तं प्रेतं दिष्टमितो ज्ञय एव हरन्ति यत एवैतो यन्तो यतः संभूतो भवति. तो पूरा जीवन जो है अपने प्रारब्ध के अनुसार वो जीता है, और उसके बाद कहाँ चला जाता है? फिर अंत्येष्टि जो है वो हम लोग कहाँ पर करते हैं? फिर उसको अग्नि में ही उसको दे देते हैं. सो देयर इज अ फुल साइकिल, राइट. देयर इज अ फुल साइकिल ऑफ you coming from the nature and again getting back to the nature. So this is the difference. So key takeaways from this presentation would be कि आप जो खाना खा रहे हैं वही वो क्या बन रहा है, वो कहाँ से आया है, और वो खाना खाने के बाद हम क्या बन रहे हैं, बिकॉज अन्नमयम ही सौम्य मनः. और and the ramifications of all this and the idea of you being part of the nature. So therefore you have a duty to not harm the nature. It is ingrained in us. We don't need any UN charter to tell us these are the SDGs and you have to follow. If we can actually reclaim our civilizational ethos, हमारी जो जीवन पद्धति आप देखेंगे तो आप यदि आप पूरा एक साल का हम यदि देखेंगे तो कितने उपवास करते हैं? एकादशी का उपवास है, चतुर्थी का उपवास रहता है, पूर्णिमा का उपवास रहता है. मतलब अपने अपने हिसाब से हम वो चुनते हैं कौन सी उपवास करना है. उपवास में 2 चीजें होते हैं, एक तो हम खाना तो नहीं खाते हैं, दूसरा हमारा मन को हम थोड़ा नियमित करने के लिए प्रयास करते हैं. So if you see it from an ecological perspective, you're restraining yourself from food is actually what? It is the idea of sustainability. It is not only the idea of sustainability about food security, but even your health. Your overall well-being is also being, nurtured, right? So therefore, the idea of sustainability, environmental ethics, and its ramification on the technological developments, everything is actually correlated. So therefore I would like to conclude by just trying to ये इस आइडिया का बीजाव आप जस्ट होना चाहिए कि these are not esoteric ideas. जो कॉन्सेप्ट्स हम अभी जो पंचाग्नि का है, these are not esoteric, they are very practical enough. यदि हम उसको अपने इसमें लेकर आना चाहते हैं इंट्रोस्पेक्ट करके, so if we can imagine, if we can actually sow these ideas as seeds into the kids' minds, children's mind, sustainability or sustainable practices happen organically. There is no need to push them, is what I feel. And I think we'll wrap this session and then we'll have, after a short break, we will have the next session. Thank you very much.
धन्यवादः। इदानीं किञ्चित् अस्माकं चायपानं सिद्धमस्ति। चायपान तैयार है। हम चायपान आज यहाँ ही सामने ही हम लेंगे। चायपान लेकर जल्दी हम 15 मिनट में यहाँ फिर वापस आ जाएंगे। धन्यवाद। नमस्कार।
Excuse me. Actually, sir is waiting for the session. Kindly assemble in the room, please, as soon as possible.
Shall we start? तो अभी next one would be ये थोड़ा it's on a different topic, something where it is related to as it is all about school education, right? So you all come from institution that is related to school education. So I would just like to ask a small introspective question. As leaders in school education, do you feel, what is your opinion about the emotional intelligence of the current kids? What do you feel? Is it improving? Is it declining? आपको क्या लगता है? आपके बचपन Okay. 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 So we'll start this session with a questionnaire. I'll share a questionnaire with you. You can fill in your responses. There are a few multiple options that you can fill in. And then we will try to, so it's a collaborative approach. I'll suggest a few things from the Shastras and how do we see it. And also we will start, after filling that, we will have also again another glance of some of the metrics as we did in the previous session regarding a few parameters related to country and other elements. So I would so this is how it is. So there are 4 or 5 themes. One is about attention and presence. So which are the scenarios do teachers in your school report most frequently? Are teachers saying students ask, is this for the exam before engaging with any topic? Increased complaints about students being distracted, restless, or unable to focus for a full period. Morning assemblies or long sessions becoming harder to conduct without disruptions. Teachers needing to repeat instructions multiple times in the same class. Students engaged only during co-curricular activities but disengaged during regular classes. Screen time at home affecting attention span even in phone-free classrooms. So आपको क्या लगता है? This can be a reflection from your personal experiences also. As I know that you do not have a day-to-day interaction with students, you can reflect even with your experiences in your home also. Okay, so that's fine. I mean, I don't have the whole, okay, then it'll be more relatable in that case. And if you have other specific observations also regarding attention, you can even, state that. And then emotional stability. What behavioral patterns are you observing in students when they face challenges? Increased parent complaints or interventions when a child receives low marks or criticism. Students breaking down over small issues, that is a missed question or a lost competition. More frequent visits to the counselor's office for anxiety or stress-related concerns. Students blaming external factors, that is teacher bias and tough paper rather than self-reflection. withdrawal or refusal to participate after one failure or negative experience, a rise in psychosomatic complaints such as headaches and stomach aches around exam periods. A decade ago, resilience seemed higher. Now, even minor setbacks feel major to students. Regarding purpose and motivation, what drives students' choices and engagement in your school? Students and parents focused primarily on marks, ranks, and college admissions. Career conversations dominated by doctor, engineer, IAS with little exploration of interest. Participation in activities only if it adds value to their resume or profile. Peer pressure or parental ambition driving subject choices more than genuine curiosity. Students unable to articulate why they want a particular career beyond salary or status. Decline in intrinsic motivation, learning for the joy of learning feels rare. Increased coaching culture, students see school as secondary to competitive exam preparation. Then we have peer comparison and pressure. How is social comparison affecting student well-being in your school? Students, especially in middle and higher schools, stressed about physical appearance and social acceptance. Social media related issues spilling into school, exclusion, trolling, image consciousness, unhealthy academic competition, students comparing marks, ranks, tuition classes, birthday parties, branded items, phones becoming status symbols among peers, body image concerns leading to disordered eating or self-esteem issues, especially among girls, fear of being left out, FOMO, which we call it as, driving behavior more than personal values, teacher reporting the students are harsher and more judgmental towards each other than before. Yeah. Has anyone watched the recent Netflix series called Adolescence? Great. So if we are done, we can have each one of you maybe sharing what you have responded on one of the sections. So, can you share the first one? Attention.
Since I'm a primary teacher, so the first one, teacher saying that students ask, is this for the exam, is not much relevant for me, because earlier age students don't ask for that, like primary students don't ask for that. Increasing complaints of students being distracted, restless, or unable to focus for the full period. That is not also true in my case, because we have very short periods and very flexible periods, I must say, since we have been designing them like that. Morning assemblies or long sessions becoming harder to conduct without disruptions is somewhat true, because there are so many cases around the students are now exposed to so much stimulus that they can't just be in a low stimulus setting. They suffer with that. They face hardships in standing straight or standing still, is what I feel. The teachers needing to repeat instructions multiple times in the same class is what we are facing on a daily basis. It is a true practice that all teachers would agree upon, I think. Students engaged in only during co-curricular activities but disengaged during regular classes is somewhat, because now we have an integrated approach and an inclusive approach, and all of the teaching is kind of engaged with or integrated with the co-curricular activities, so I can't really say about it. The screen time at home affecting attention span even in phone-free classrooms. So it's a bittersweet thing. So sometimes it is evident, sometimes it is not, so I can't say for sure. But what I feel is that I engage with primary students, so they rarely dispose these things. But yeah, the students in the earliest classes, like nursery and KG classes, they are very fond of these high stimulus phones and all, and they tend to expose these habits, and that they won't listen if there is no screen in the front of them. They won't eat if there is no screen in front of them. And even the parents say that they don't eat at home without a screen. They don't eat at home without any sound in their ears. They just can't eat mindfully. That is one thing that I have faced. So,
any high school teachers on the same section? Madam, you can take the mic. On the same section, if you have.
Like to add, like as a principal, I remember students sharing with me that lack of sleep, especially because of social media usage at night time, you know. So they would come to me and I just, as a friendly, in a friendly manner, we were just discussing what all you do. So they shared that before they sleep, so they would interact on social media, Facebook and all. So I said, do you remember it? Like, what is the time frame? So then they would say, ma'am, just for a few minutes and all. And during discussion, we realized that it was not just few minutes, it would extend on. So because it was before they sleep, so it would extend and they were not able to sleep properly, and that affects their functioning the next morning. So what was suggested was that stop doing this, and especially during night time. So they came back and told me, ma'am, that this helped. So
Great.
This was direct interaction with the students.
Anything about is this for the exam? जो कुछ भी पढ़ाते हैं, is this relevant to the exam?
That is very common. That is very common. Matlab, they are really focused on. And to some extent I feel, especially teachers, as teachers also, We
ये
also
एग्जाम
do
आएगा,
this.
ये इम्पोर्टेंट क्वेश्चन
हाँ.
है.
So I will not just blame the students for this. We have our classrooms are like that more or less.
Yeah.
What will come? We also focus. This is important. So more stress on the important questions and all. So we need to change, not just the students.
Yeah, great. Anyone on the second section of emotional stability?
Apart from whatever is written in this, I would say कि students nowadays they have access to net, AIs. तो उनको क्या होता है कि वो अपने virtual friends ज़्यादा बनाते हैं instead of जो उनके जो real friends हो सकते हैं, जो real parents के साथ बातचीत कर सकते हैं, वो ना करके वो virtual friends ज़्यादा बनाते हैं. जब वो उनको अवेलेबल नहीं होता है किसी समय पे, उन्होंने कुछ शेयर करना है, कुछ कहना है, किसी भी चीज़ के लिए स्ट्रेस आउट करना है, उसको कहना है, वो नहीं अवेलेबल होता है, तो वो और ज़्यादा इमोशनली अनस्टेबल हो जाते हैं. और उस चीज़ को समझने के लिए इमोशनल स्टेबिलिटी बच्चों में होना ज़रूरी है, और उसके लिए उनको गाइडेंस की ज़रूरत पड़ती ही पड़ती है. Students blaming external factors, withdrawal or refusal to participate after one of failure or negative experiences, rise in psychosomatic complaints.
Actually, in this point, in this attention, I would like to add that even parents are not giving proper time to their children. They are very, very busy, and at their place they are taking the help of gadgets. Fine. And if parents are involved in schools and classes, they are involved mostly negative. Why this happened, why you have beat my child and all that, not positively. So the child is facing double attack. On one side he is not getting parental support, and if he is getting, then getting negatively. So this is very important point.
Yes, sir. You have a mic. जी. जी. Yeah. जी जी. Wait, children mimic parents. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. जी जी जी. So in order to impart values, you need to follow those in your life.
सीखेगा, उसमें टाइम का कोई फ्रेमवर्क नहीं है. ग्रेट.
इमोशनल स्टेबिलिटी पे मैं डिस्कस करना चाहूँगा यहाँ पे अपना सबमिशन. मैंने भी अपनी ना क्लासेस में ये रियलाइज़ किया है कि भावनात्मक रूप से हमारे जो स्टूडेंट्स हैं, अब पता नहीं पहले भी होते होंगे, बट मैंने अपनी अभी नौकरी में देख रहा हूँ कमज़ोर हो रहे हैं. एक विद्यार्थी ने तो पूछ ही लिया मुझसे कि सर मुझे कैसे पता चलेगा कि मैं इमोशनली बैलेंस्ड हूँ या नहीं? तो इस प्रश्न का जवाब जब तक हम बच्चे को नहीं जानेंगे कि उनकी एक्टिविटीज़ क्या है घर पर प्लेग्राउंड में, तो उस समय तो मैंने कुछ आंसर दिए उसको जानने की कोशिश की। लेकिन कई बार ऐसा क्लास में होता है, जैसे हमने कुछ क्वेश्चंस पूछे या किसी को करिकुलर एक्टिविटीज़ में किसी का पार्टिसिपेशन नहीं हो पाया, तो मेरी मोर देन 15 ईयर्स की टीचिंग एक्सपीरियंस है। एक समय ऐसा था जब बच्चे जब पार्टिसिपेट नहीं करते थे, होता नहीं तो कोई बात नहीं, दूसरे में कर लेंगे। अभी मैं क्या देख पा रहा हूँ कि ना बहुत जल्दी स्टूडेंट्स रोने लग जाते हैं। मैं यहाँ पे मेल और फीमेल को यहाँ पे इंगित नहीं करूँगा, स्टूडेंट्स रोने भी लग जाते हैं कि भाई मेरा पार्टिसिपेशन नहीं हुआ, रोते देखा मैंने। तो ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है इमोशनल स्टेबिलिटी पे काम करना। ये बहुत अच्छे आपने, मैं अप्रिशिएट करता हूँ सर, बहुत अच्छे पॉइंट्स लिखे हैं आपने। तो मैंने जो सबसे ज़्यादा इसमें टिक किया ना, ये था विड्रॉल और रिफ्यूजल टू पार्टिसिपेट आफ्टर वन फेलियर और नेगेटिव एक्सपीरियंसेस।
जी, सो जीवन को सामना, मतलब बिकॉज लाइफ इज ऑल अबाउट फेल्यूर्स, इट्स नॉट अबाउट सक्सेस, राइट? सो या, ग्रेट, श्योर श्योर मैडम।
And I think this is the need of the hour. क्योंकि बहुत अच्छे अच्छे engineers we have already made, very professional doctors we have already made, lawyers we have already prepared, but what about their own emotional stability, their own value system? That is the major concern that we are actually facing these days. I mean, we see that doctors, we can't even trust doctors these days. You go there and I don't know what you will, which actually disease they'll bring up to you. I mean, if surgery is required or not, they can prescribe you anything. So I think this is very important aspect that needs to be catered to at this point in time. Similarly, if we talk about engineers, we can see so many bridges falling these days. So I think there is some lack in our own education system. And it's really good that we are, falling back on our own original Indian knowledge system, because that was very concrete in that sense. Yeah. But because of some Western influences, because of, I would not name anything as such per se, but because of many reasons, we just got drifted from there. So, and many comprehensive points you've mentioned. And so I think that students have drastically lowered their resilience. And they can't even handle trivial issues. They are not strong from within. So that is what the problem is. So we need to really work on that. And Science of Living program is trying to do that only in our Delhi.
Great.
So we are trying to do, things step by step, gradually.
Great.
So right from the class KG to class 12th, we have developed this curriculum. So we are trying to focus on that. And as like mentor teachers, we go to so many schools. We have, I personally have 8 schools. So whenever I go to a school, especially in girls' school, girls come to me and share so many personal things of theirs. And they really need some solutions because they don't have resilience, they don't have answers to their issues. So I have to sit with them to understand what they are going through. So that is very important. Patient listening and non-judgmental listening is very important on the part of teacher. So this is, capacity to listen, capacity to non-judgmental listening has to be developed among all teachers. So I think that is really important.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. सर अब मैं आपको बताती हूँ, कंफर्टेबल की बात ठीक है, लेकिन जो पीयर ग्रुप है ना, वो उसे वो सॉल्यूशंस या वो एवेन्यूज नहीं दे पाएगा क्योंकि वो भी उसी मेंटल स्टेट में। लेकिन जो मैं 5 साल के बच्चे की तो सर बात, हाँ सर आप इमेजिन, अब आई डोंट नो, मतलब मैं
we'll get to that, we'll get to that. Yeah.
इमेजिन भी
थोड़ा हम इसको let us have these discussions. These are very healthy discussions, but keeping the time paucity.
Yeah. Thank you.
We'll definitely, sir. Maybe we can go to the third section of purpose and motivation. If anyone has to share any reflections. Yeah. Please.
Here, though, I would like to say that what I observed from these points and what is currently happening in schools and houses, parents are forcing the kids to fulfill their own ambitions which they could not complete or fulfill in their own time. This is happening. If I wanted to be a doctor and I could not, I want that my son or daughter must be a doctor. And I'm pressurizing for him or her. And this is emotionally, breaking him or her.
Do you, anyone, yeah, Abhin. Yeah, I mean, this is more about introspection. I mean, have you ever
with due respect, ma'am, now it's increasing and too much.
मतलब पहले ऐसा नहीं था कि
Now it is decreasing. It is coming down. I think it's coming down now.
I would just pose another question. As teachers, have you ever, observed the shift from focus on personality development of the children, character building of the children, to career at the age of 10 to 12? Right? So I think it is evident. It is evident. So yeah. So this is a very good question. Please keep that alive. We will have a small relatable thing in the this thing. And then about peer comparison and pressure. Anyone has anything to say? Yeah.
Purpose and motivation. I think the most key issue over here or the problem over here is decline in intrinsic motivation. That is what I feel. Learning for the joy of learning feels rare.
So that is when I think there is a good TED talk on how did arts lose its ground in education? Because it's all about industry started driving education system,
Yes.
right? It's John Kipling. I don't know who has. But it's a wonderful talk, TED talk. So where he actually very well explains that post World War II, that the whole education system has drastically changed from where arts have lost. Previously, people who have mastered in arts were given a lot of importance and honor, but afterwards it all changed towards who earn more, who are somewhere related to the industry and etc. So
But now I think a time is soon coming when people with arts are also earning bagfuls. So I think we've come.
To mention nowadays the students are just following their peers, what they are doing. Let's think. If they are students, they just talk about my friend is taking admission in Delhi University or in Central Sanskrit University. I'll also be trying to get admission there. That's the peer pressure. Also, there is society pressure as well as parents pressure that involves that affects their emotional health also. Great.
So then,
Sir, there is one more thing that apart from the various pressures that we keep talking about, peer pressure and parental pressure, I think now, because I meet a lot of students and teachers and heads of school and senior officers like me, so what I have seen is that there are some pressures in which I would like to include myself also, that we have created for ourselves also. That I want to do this, I want to, this particular issue of FOMO that you have mentioned, I think this is a biggest problem these days, which is not only for children only, that is for teachers also, as well as for officers like me also, where we want to, we've created high standards for ourselves. I don't know whom we are trying to prove to, but we have done that, and I think we need to work
great.
on that.
I mean, this is the first step, introspection, and yes, sir.
मैम ने बिल्कुल सही बात कही और इसमें हमने देखा कि एक पॉइंट है अनहेल्दी एकेडमिक कंपटीशन, स्टूडेंट कंपेयरिंग मार्क्स, रैंक्स एंड ट्यूशन। हमें लगता है सर कि स्टूडेंट कंपेयरिंग मार्क्स कम करते हैं, पेरेंट्स
हाँ
सबसे ज़्यादा करते हैं,
ग्रेट
और अपने रिलेशन के बीच में और दूसरे के बीच में। और जो सबसे ज़्यादा प्रेशर क्रिएट हो रहा है वो आज के समय में मैं देख रहा हूँ, हमारे यहाँ बड़े बच्चे आ रहे हैं, पेरेंट्स के द्वारा ज़्यादा हो रहा कि उन्हें जो बात लिखी गई डॉक्टर, इंजीनियर या जो बनाना, कोई ये नहीं सोचता है कि टीचर भी अच्छा हो सकता है, आर्टिस्ट भी अच्छा हो सकता है, या कोई दूसरे जॉब भी अच्छे हो सकते हैं। तो पेरेंट्स की तरफ से जो प्रेशर है वो बच्चों में सोशियो इमोशनल डिसऑर्डर जो हो रहे हैं, तो मेरे ख्याल से वो ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है।
Great. And on the last one, anyone wants to share? Yes, I think you have something.
That is what we try to do in our schools
It's
as
a
well.
symbiosis, madam. Matlab,
Yes.
it cannot, it's not compartmentalized to schooling, school or parents. It is actually mutual, you know, it has a
But
symbiosis
every
among them.
stakeholder has a role,
Yeah,
and it has to be
that definitely.
validated.
Yes, yes. Coming to the last one, ethical anchoring. Anyone wants to? Yeah, you have. Yeah, please.
The point that resonated the most with me was this: everyone does it mindset. Because everyone does it, it is the right approach. Because appeal to masses is the fallacy here.
Yeah.
That if everyone is doing it, so it must be right. If everyone is preparing for JE, I must prepare for
also
JE.
prepare, yeah.
If that is what is happening, no?
Yeah. Yes, madam. Yeah.
अगर हम बात कर रहे हैं तो अभी क्या है, बच्चों को लगता है कि जो सोशल जो मीडिया है कहीं ना कहीं उसका असर आ रहा है। हम जब छोटे थे तो हमें क्या सिखाया जाता था, कहानियाँ सुनाई जाती थी, हमारे ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स थे, पंचतंत्र की कहानियाँ पढ़ते थे, कुछ कॉमिक्स भी पढ़ते थे, तो वो भी उसी से रिलेटेड होती थी। तो हम दूसरों की सहायता करो, लालच बुरी बला है, ऐसे ऐसी कहानियाँ पढ़ते थे, तो हमें वो सेट हो जाता था, माइंड सेट ऐसा बन जाता था कि किसी के साथ बुरा नहीं करना है। अभी बच्चे क्या देख रहे हैं, जो मर्जी बना रहा है, जो वो स्क्रॉल कर रहे हैं, पूरा इंस्टा स्क्रॉल कर रहे हैं, रील्स देख रहे हैं, मतलब क्या मटेरियल है उस पर, क्या नहीं है, कोई ध्यान नहीं रख रहा बच्चा क्या देख रहा है, तो वो वही सीखेंगे जो देखेंगे।
ग्रेट ग्रेट। यस
सर, पीयर कंपैरिजन प्रेशर में एक लाइव एग्जांपल देता हूँ। आज स्टूडेंट्स को अपने से ज़्यादा दूसरे की परवाह है कि उसने क्या पहना है। मैंने ये रियलाइज़ किया है, जो हमारे यहाँ पे जो स्टूडेंट्स आते हैं, जैसे किसी ने सफ़ेद जूता पहन लिया एक बच्चे ने, तो बोलेगा यार तो मेरे लिए भी ये सफ़ेद जूता लिया, मेरे को भी शादी में करके ये लेके आना है। ये मैं बॉयज़ की बता रहा हूँ। गर्ल्स अपने चॉइसेस के लिए इतना ध्यान रखती हैं, अगर उनको शादी में जाना है, पार्टीज़ में जाना है, वो ऐसा कपड़ा ढूंढेंगी जो पूरी किसी के पास ना हो। लेकिन बॉयज़ ये है कि तू लिया, जो भी है तू लिया, जो तू पहनेगा वो मैं ही पहनूंगा, वो तेरा भाई वही पहनेगा। तो ये जो पीयर कंपैरिजन और प्रेशर है तो ये मेरी ऑब्जर्वेशन है, इतने सालों से मैं स्टूडेंट के साथ हूँ।
Great.
तो
I think these points are paving way for what maybe next Lakshmi would be covering, the psychology, how it's differing from, you know, boys and girls. It's a great. So I think we will. Yeah, please, madam.
Students are listening politely to everything, whatever being delivered in the schools by the teachers, but they are not internalizing the values, right? They just listen to it, they just left it in the school. They repeat the things like bullying and copying, disrespect. They don't know that they are doing this because they are not internalizing those values. And what I can say that this is just not because of the students' behavior. They are not seeing that behavior in their adults as well, right? So this is a major problem what I see in today's students.
I also wanted to just add this, as she mentioned, स्कूल के अंदर वो दिखाने के लिए डिसिप्लिन में रहेंगे, the moment they are outside they again start bullying, and तो वो कहते हैं क्या जाता, they want to show the power of being bossy or whatever, so actually they are living two lives.
Great. So it's not organic. Yeah. Great. Great. So, I would like to thank you everyone for actively participating. So I would request everyone to applaud everyone else for actively participating and sharing your insights. It proves that the questionnaire is effective enough that you're able to relate to. So we'll start, so we all know what the problem is. We have our own, opinions, and we have a good experience also to come to those opinions. So we'll just take a few insights from what the, we have a concept called Samanya Dharma in Dharma Shastra, which is very common, but how to actually see it from a Shastric lens. So before going there, so as, in the previous session also, we'll start with some metrics. So we have where economic growth is visible, yet mental and emotional balance are fading. So the point is, do we have something in our civilizational memory that we can go approach and again relate it to the contemporary problem? So first, we'll just see, again, take some metrics and, try to understand the situation. So there is outer growth. So this is the, real GDP chart, which shows that there is a, growth, which is moderating around 6 to 7%. So this is related to Bharat, right? So this is essentially what? This is a marker of progress, right? As we define progress to be. And this is the projected growth that's going to happen until 2029, where it is projected that it will cross $6.7 trillion by 2030, Bharat's GDP. So therefore, we are going to be one of the major financial forces across globe in the future. So this is all very good to hear. But this very recent report, which shows that all is not well, which is again from Delhi. So where, from battling academic pressure to coping with loneliness, so India's college students are quietly shouldering a growing mental health crisis. So high levels of anxiety, depression, emotional distress, this is all due to stigma. So this is afterwards, after completing the school. So this is what the report says. And another report, so this is on October 4th, 2025. On October 1st, there is a very startling, report that says that the highest, deaths due to suicides are of students. Previously, it was of farmers. Now it has grown by, 65%, and this is nothing but our own records, NCRB records, which are stating that the highest among deaths because of suicides are of students. So you see the, the image of, one side of external growth and the reality of inner decline. So there is external growth and inner decline. And the other very, vital point that we discussed, right? So which is also there part of the questionnaire, is the shift of parents that we talked about from character building to career oriented options, right? Career oriented approach, which is what is causing the whole shift among the Kota factory, or I come from South, so we are very famous as Kota. We also have something called as Narayana and Sri Chaitanya and etc. So where we all again boast, the whole advertisements would be 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, right? All India ranks and etc. So we boast of that. But no one talks about the drop-off ratio, of students who get into IITs not able to actually cope with the kind of self-study that they have to do. They drop off. No one talks about the dropout rates of the same students who have gone there and who are being advertised to be successful. And what is all this about? So this is all about what? Stability through employment. So this is the whole story behind it, right? So we tell them that, chase dreams, because why you want to do some your, what is the highest, the degree that people ape for is, computer science, BTech computer science in IIT. Why? It is not that you like computer science. It is because that will lead to higher package. And even, yeah. And IITs are also ranked, or the craze of IITs is also based on the package that the students get there. We celebrate a student getting a 10 crore package, and that becomes a headline for us, right? So this is all this is the effect that we are seeing. What is the cause is the notion of stability. The idea of stability that will emerge because of employment in a particular, company, top 3, top 2, like Microsoft or Meta, or in that sort of companies. But what is the recent, until now in this year, very 2025, there were around 1.6 lakh jobs were laid off, right? So that happens, and this is about Microsoft. It laid off around 19,000 people, but it has nothing to do with loss of that particular company. It is not because of loss that Microsoft had laid off people, because it did not need those people. That work can be done by AI or some other things. So this graph shows that in May 2025, in December 2024, this line is of profits. There were no layoffs. Actually, profit increased in May 2025. There were the first wave of 6,000 layoff, and it increased more by July 2025, where the layoffs were also increased. The second wave, there were 9,000 people who were laid off of their jobs. So therefore, this is the another reality which we are seeing. So the whole drive towards, the race towards getting into IITs and IIMs is because of this idea of stability in these companies. But whereas the reality is something else, and layoffs is not new, because these companies are not built to give people livelihood. The main idea, so what is the difference between the Bharat's idea of leadership and the Western idea of leadership is, the Bharat's idea of leadership is for creating livelihood. Creating livelihood is one of the foundational pillars of leadership, which you call it as, what you call, Ayenarjanam Vardhanam Satpatra Pratipatti. So this is called as Satpatra Pratipatti. So that is creating opportunities to people based on which livelihood is an organic outcome. You don't give freebies to them. You create certain opportunities, certain systems in such a way that they work and get benefited out of it, due to which they can live. So our institutions were built to create livelihoods, but these institutions are not built to create livelihoods. They talk about automation. What automation will lead? It will lead to layoffs again, right? So that is great technology. So this is the difference of approach. And the other thing, another lens, if you see, so this is a graph that shows the disparity of salary compensation between the top level leader and the entry level employee. In 1978, a CEO and an entry level worker had similar compensation. Whereas in 2021, the CEO's compensation has risen about 1046%. But the worker at the entry levels, it's still at 18%. I still remember in the year 1999 and 2000, where Infosys and all were like booming, back then having a job of starting salary with 25,000 was a great deal. But today, if you get into Tech Mahindra, you're going to get 18,000. So this is another metric that is showing that the higher cream of the leaders are taking the most, of the percentage of the profits. So this is the reality out there. I mean, this is not to say that, that everything should change, but this is just a marker of showing what it is. How is the industry? And because this is directly affecting the decisions that the students are taking. But parents or students do not consider all these things. For them, getting into IIT is so big that they don't even try to introspect, why am I chasing this dream? What is it that this dream is going to actually fulfill me? What is it that is going to fulfill? But the reality out there is this. So therefore, we tell our students to study hard, to get into a top company, and then you will be secure. But what happens when even a $1 billion company, they are unstable, right? So therefore, the external world keeps shifting. You cannot change the way that these corporates are actually functioning. You cannot say that you have to share your, you cannot create restrictions that CEO cannot take this much, compensation. You have to. This is not a world, a capitalist world is not like that. Capitalist world is all about profits. It's not about, dharmic, distribution of funds. No, it's about you are, you'll get a lot of quotations like survival of the fittest and this, that, and whatnot. So therefore, we cannot change the world the way it is actually emerging. What we can do, because you cannot, now until 2 years or 3 years back, computer science was the booming, this thing, and today it is AI. And tomorrow you don't know, because AI is emerging in such pace that you're not able to even comprehend. Because, the way that, Claude or Perplexity or ChatGPT are actually, emerging. I see a lot of, now I still remember 3 years back when ChatGPT was new, it was not able to do good Sanskrit translation. But today, it can really write good poems also, shlokas also in Sanskrit with the chandas accuracy and all that stuff. And even the accuracy of translation also increased. So day by day you are seeing that it is totally emerging, and you don't know how many days it will be, and you are talking about quantum computing. So it's all very dynamic. If you think that this is something, this particular technology is going to give me some stability, before you complete the study, something else is going to emerge and everything is going to migrate over there. So you never know. Even the geopolitical situation is also so fragile that you don't know what's going to happen. So so this is all the external world. So how fast that you can run in this running race? So is it about aping to the change what's happening in the outer world, or is it about trying to find the anchor which is inner, which is within us? Can we, as Madam rightfully said, we also as elders have FOMO, that we don't know why are we actually setting up these standards. So that is because the human nature is such that we want which we call it as pain and pleasure. So if we want to distill our whole life, it is nothing but it is about two things, pain and pleasure. We want to do something that gives us pleasure and want to avoid that gives us pain. Whatever you do, at the end it results in these both things only. But where are we trying to find? If we think that whatever is with me and I'm comfortable and happy with that, you are happy. If you feel that you're not happy with whatever you're having, you're not happy. So therefore, the journey starts inside. Right? So therefore, the only true stability lies within. And that is what our civilization has very much emphasized, which we call it as dharma. So what is dharma? So etymological meaning of dharma. So therefore, we've trained our youth to think brilliantly but not live wisely. right? So what is the inner crisis? What is this causing? So many things. I think we have covered all this in our questionnaire. So therefore, we need an anchor where we can actually have a hold upon, and not actually run the running race, but have our own tortoise journey of life, right? So that is dharma. What is dharma? Dharayati iti dharma. That which sustains, based on which you actually can, that which actually holds everything together. So that is one of the meanings of dharma. So I'll just take one of the part of dharma. One is something called as samanya dharma. So there are many samanya dharmas ranging from 5 to 30. So I've just listed out a few. Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya, Shaucha, Indriya Nigraha, Dana, Dama, Daya, Arjava, Kshama, Dhriti, Shraddha and Mardava. So these are a few samanya dharmas that I have. So they are very esoteric when I say that, these are the samanya dharmas. This is nothing but, what we have something called as ethics in our curriculum and all that stuff. So we do know that, the period of ethics is very boring. No one actually cares about it, and it doesn't has any marks to it. So therefore, there is no importance given to it. This is all because it is not part of our life. It is not experiential. We are not trying to, bring these things to the experiential level, but they are being taught as theoretical ideals, and where the path to achieve them is not emphasized upon, because who cares? Because world is not evolving around these things, right? So world is for smarter people, not for the sincere people, right? So that is how the world has emerged. So how do we bring these, samanya dharmas? So there can be a few. This is just an idea. This is not so this is just an idea that came out of this, thought process of, is there a way where we can actually include as part of our pedagogy, as part of our, we have, day-to-day interactions with students. So we do say that, psychological, analysis has to be done. Can we do the same analysis from this samanya dharma perspective, right? When we are calling anxiety, is there a lack of shraddha in that particular student? Shraddha will address anxiety, because shraddha is one example where we can say, as I come from Guru Shishya Parampara, so if my father has, this happened to me. So my father had something and he said that you need to come to home, but I had to ask my Guruji with the permission. My Guruji said no. He said, you cannot go, I don't give you the permission. So therefore, I had to miss a very, very many, important occasions in my family, but it was because of my Guruji's this thing. Because of Shraddha, I did not have the anxiety that I'm not going there, I'm missing something there, because I'm bound to my Guru's, word. So whatever it could be, good, bad, ugly, it may seem to be good, bad, ugly from the outer, but for me, I don't have anything, I don't have mental anxiety, because I'm bound to my Guru's, this thing. So Shraddha is one which can actually, are there any, methodologies that we can actually cultivate Shraddha in the students? If you're talking about depression, so then it could be the lack of dhriti, right? So not being able to tackle, failure, not being able to, even I see students getting depressed who get 99%, right? Because of that 1%, they're not able to achieve. So this is lack of dhriti. So not being able to feel contained with whatever we have. So is there any method in which we can actually inculcate these values? Isolation, that is lack of daya. So you have a full of people in the room, but you feel isolated, you feel aloof. It is because you're not able to actually interact. You're not having that the kind ear to listen to what others want to say. So we are not able to create that compassion towards others. Self-harm and others. So ahimsa, lack of ahimsa causing self-harm. So it's not only self-harm in the sense of physical, but even mentally also. Restraining yourself from public interactions and etc. is also self-harm. Then addictions, obviously. So addictions doesn't mean only drug abuse. It will also mean social media also. Social media is also an abuse, right? We are abusing our sensory organs. We are abusing our mind. So we are abusing in a lot many ways. So Indriya Nigraha, I think, yeah. So we have Indriya Nigraha. So Lakshmi will be taking care of Indriya Nigraha. And then image obsession. So, trying to show off something, but you know what you actually are. Not being able to accept what we are. So what our Instagram and Snapchat filters are doing is they are nothing but actually stimulating this image obsession more. So now if you see, there is a lot of trend, on, if you see, take jewelry, it's less of real gold and it's more of, imitation, gold-like ornaments. You see that, Previously, if you see, wearing something made out of iron, उसको कहते हैं कि मतलब iron, if you're wearing anything related to iron, it's like Shani, क्या कर रहे हो? But now it is that you don't know what alloy it is, and upon which you have gold coating, and so it's all about one-day affairs. You want to showcase yourself as something big which you don't really know that you are not, and there is nothing big in having. So this is all of image obsession, not being able to accept what you are, not only acceptance, but it's all about contentment also. Not feeling happy with whatever you're having. So that is the, so is there any intervention that we can design where we can inculcate these kind of, values in the students? So because as everything, it's all in the mind, which we call it as manas. So this dharma, which we were talking about, samanya dharma, which is the anchoring element, it cannot be achieved without the manasthairya. That is the contentment in, the anchoring of, the mind. So a disturbed mind cannot hold dharma. So, and a forgotten dharma cannot heal the mind. So it is a symbiosis between mind and dharma. So which is actually, I think, a perfect, precursor to the next sessions that are going to have. So the same thing again. So the symbiosis between mind and dharma. So dharmena heenam khalu jeevitam jeevitancha na rajate chandramasa vinanisha. So a life devoid of dharma, it shines no more, just as a night without the moon knows no light. So if अमावस्या में रात की क्या मतलब खूबसूरती है, मतलब कुछ नहीं है. So similarly, without a stable mind, there is no this thing to have a dharma in this. So therefore, getting out of the problem loop to the dharmic cycle, which is to react, reflect, and realign. So it's not about only about the problem loop. What is this problem? This problem is caused by this problem. This problem is caused by this problem. This is not going to help us in any way. Rather, we need to realign, because if I think, so as everything is about viewpoints, if you think that 100 rupees is sufficient, then it is sufficient. If you think that 1,000 crores is not sufficient, it is not sufficient. So therefore, realigning the mind itself is the key for self-contentment. And I also accept that these things are very easy to say and very hard to actually implement. But at least realizing, I think, I know whenever we talk about this, many people say, ये बताना बहुत आसान है, मगर जाके वहाँ पे करना मुश्किल है. मगर हमारा जो जर्नी है वो see, for any solution, the journey starts with identifying and defining the problem. So identifying the problem and defining the problem is itself 50% solution. There can be many other, frameworks in defining the problem. This is one which comes from the Shastras. I cannot boast saying that, we have the whole framework and the whole worksheet or kind of thing that we can actually implement. But at least this gives an anchoring, an idea where we can actually reflect, try to build something based on these principles. So therefore, there can be one, take a few Samanya Dharma, Sada, Shraddha, Dhriti or Arjava, and try to inculcate them, because learning is not only about information, right? It should actually transform. Our curriculum is our curriculum designed for inner transformation. We all know it is not that much, but at least a journey can start from now on, where we can think in that path. Sure. Yeah. No. Physical mind is not physical. It's not brain. I'm not talking about the brain. नहीं. हाँ, मतलब ये दोनों चीज they are interdependent. मतलब धर्म का मतलब क्या होता है कि आप एक सामान्य धर्म को लिया है और धृति है शायद, ठीक है? You are resilient, right? This can only happen if your mind is stable enough. So how do you make that? उसके लिए अलग से प्रक्रियाएं हैं, जैसे कि आहार के व्यवहार हो, नियम हो, या आपकी जो व्रतों का आचरण हो, या साधना हो, ध्यान हो. So there are other ways in which you can, because mind is the fulcrum. So mind is the element which actually holds your sensory organs, right? So it is the key. If mind is anchored in dharma, which is stable, eternally stable, then everything is possible. There is a possibility that everything can be stable. That, the journey, if you have to have restricted screen time, you need to first वो संकल्प लेना पड़ता है कि हाँ, I am not going to use the phone. So it starts at the manomaya level. We will even have the Panchakosha also. So at the manomaya level, which will actually result in the annamaya, in the physical level, right? So if you don't want to eat, मतलब आप पता नहीं कितने लोग देखे होंगे, यदि एकादशी की उपवास कैसा करना है, आप यदि धर्म सिंधु वगैरह आप जाके देखेंगे, तो दशमी के रात को आपको संकल्प लेना पड़ता है कि मैं एकादशी के दिन में खाना नहीं खाऊंगा, और मैं द्वादशी के दोपहर ही में मेरा व्रत का नियम, मतलब मैं खाना खाऊंगा. सो दिस इज संकल्प लेना पड़ता है पहले दिन. क्यों लेना पड़ता है? बिकॉज यू आर एक्चुअली रियलाइजिंग योर माइंड दैट that I'm not going to eat for the next 24 hours or so. So once your mind is in your this thing, then naturally the cravings also will get reduced. So you see a transformation in your physical level also. So therefore, ये कहाँ से आ रहा है? मन को आप कैसा वो संकल्प ले रहे हैं, वो धर्म के हिसाब से आप ले रहे हैं, क्योंकि धर्मशास्त्र में आपको बताया गया है कि एकादशी के दिन उपवास करो. मतलब उपवास का मतलब होता है समीप रहना. उप समीपे वासः, मतलब आपके मन भगवान के समीप में रहना चाहिए और आप आपके समीप में रहना चाहिए. So actually it is a time of introspection. So you don't so you are restricting your whole activity, mental and physical activity. So the concept of upavasa is that. So you are giving a restoration period for your mental and physical both realms. So all these things, this is nothing but indriya nigraha. If you want to again relate it to with the samanya dharmas, it is nothing but indriya nigraha. So therefore, so this is just this thing. As we measure the progress with GDP, something we need to also have gross dharmic balance, where we can also track the emotional quotient levels of the people also, because that also matters. Because now South Korea is booming, but you don't have people to actually reap those fruits. Their civilization is declining. It is said to be that by 2050 you don't have a North Korean native civilization. Japan, yeah. So therefore, what is the use of growth which is not actually giving us happiness? So therefore, there needs to be a balance between both. So therefore, that is why dharmo rakshati rakshitaha. So where dharma is protected, dharma protects us. So therefore, the youth of Bharat do not only need more data, they also need direction. And this is a case that I am presenting, that dharma is that direction. Thank you very much. If there are any reflections we can have, if not, we can conclude the session.
Check. Namaste. So, two wonderful sessions that we had from Srinivas, a very well expert, Shastrajna, one who had a Nyaya Shastra and Vedanta, and many, a well expert. Through his class you may observe. Now this is time to honor. I request Sanjeevji and Srivatsavji to honor our chief guest. Please come. So let's, thank you so much. Thank you. पुनरवश्यम आगच्छन्तु. अग्रिम IKS workshop पुनः भविष्यति. Again the second workshop will be, and the next session. Now we have a wonderful Kerala lunch, Kerala Sadhya. So it's a time for break, and then we will meet again at 2:15. It's ready now. Let's we go.